Madam First, Madam Minister, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Mark mentioned my long career, serving 8 U.S. presidents. It just shows you the only qualification to that is that you have to be old. There's a saying in the Middle East, I'm so old I can remember the Dead Sea when it was only sick. The commemoration of the 100th anniversary of the Armenian genocide is a historic event with deep meaning for everyone of Armenian origin. We all in this room have our personal narratives that together make the mosaic of the suffering and the redemption of the Armenian people. As a first-generation Armenian born in the United States, from parents who escaped the horrors and the events in 1915, 1918, and who succeeded, many others, in coming to America to seek political refuge and to remake their lives, I was deeply influenced by their experience. The loss of parents and family members, the tribulations of the death march in the Syrian desert, and the struggle to survive untold hardships. My father lost both his parents in the town of Djeredjian and somehow got to Aleppo, where a Syrian Arab family gave him refuge in their home and had him tend their horses in their stable. They were saviors. And in turn, my father became a savior by freeing 2 Armenian girls who were in a Turkish officer's harem and taking them on horseback to one of the Armenian churches in Aleppo. These girls had an elder brother in Worcester, Massachusetts, who brought his sisters to the United States. When these 2 girls related the story of what my father did, the brother was intent on finding where my father was, and he sponsored him to immigrate to the United States. He too was a savior. My mother lost her father in Kharkut, and her mother succeeded in getting her and her sisters to Ishbel in Lebanon, where they were given safety in a Danish orphanage for Armenian girls. She eventually was able to travel to Cuba, where my father went to bring her to the United States to marry her on the basis of a photograph that my grandmother showed him. By the way, I believe in arranged marriages. Whenever I face hardships in my own life, I would remind myself that whatever problems I was facing paled in comparison to what my parents had to endure, and this has given me courage to persevere through the challenges that I faced in my life. But most importantly, their experience inculcated in me a sense that because they had survived, we, the children of survivors, had a great obligation to excel in whatever pursuit we followed in life and to give back to the communities and the countries in which we reside. For me, this was by becoming an American diplomat and representing this great country that gave my parents refuge and a new life. In fact, I'll tell you a story. When I presented my credentials from President Reagan as the United States ambassador to Syria to the then President Hafez al-Assad in 1988, he noted my Armenian name and asked me about my family origins. I related the story of my parents' ordeal and how they found refuge in Syria and in Lebanon and eventually made their way to America. So you see, I told Assad, and this was the old fox dictator of Damascus. So you see, I told Assad, it is because of my father's deeds in Aleppo that my brother and I were born in America. And I said to him, if someone had told that young Armenian boy in Aleppo during those tragic and desperate times that one day he would have a son who would become the American ambassador to Syria, Syria, my father would have considered that person to be totally out of his mind. This is the greatness of the United States of America. Son of refugees. We are a country of immigrants and a land of great opportunity. The autocratic strongman of Syria was actually moved by remarks, and his first official meeting helped me establish a working relationship with him that facilitated the conduct of our rather successful diplomacy with Syria during the administration of President George Herbert Walker Bush. Assad subsequently joked with a delegation of Armenian clergy that visited him once that he understood that the United States government was taking Syria seriously when they finally sent an Armenian American to Damascus. Now, as we commemorate the 100th anniversary of the genocide and look ahead along the lines of what Secretary Ignatius said, it is equally important to do whatever we can to assure the peace, the security, and the prosperity of the Armenian people in the Republic of Armenia and in Nagorno-Karabakh. What this means is working toward normalizing diplomatic relations between Armenia and Turkey on the basis of historic justice, opening the borders and resolving the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict through negotiations. This could be the most meaningful legacy to honor all those lives that were sacrificed during the genocide. This is a compelling task for us, and it will take strong political will and courage on the part of all the leaders in the region and abroad, and the people in the diaspora. Thank you very much.